beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of WTF What's the Frequency, the show where we try to educate you in how to engage with positive frequencies to really get the best out of your life, to lift you out of doom and gloom and to set you on the right path. Because yes, you really can create your own destiny, and it doesn't matter where you are right now. If you apply some of the tips that many of the guests have talked about on this show, then you will be able to stratospherically jump into a more positive frame of mind. But more importantly, you'll start creating a more positive outcome for yourself. Don't believe me? Believe my guests, because they've all got amazing stories of success and they're here to share them with you. And no more so than the fantastic Kingsley that I've got coming on in just a few minutes. But I've got to tell you about her because, one, I'm so delighted to have somebody who's so young and trendy on my show, making my coolness go up immeasurably. And more importantly, Kingsley is an amazing singer. She is an indie goddess with the voice of an angel. She is a bit of a spiritual warrior as well. And she's the face of Event Cosmetics. And, you know, there is just no end to how this woman is propelling herself forward. So please join me in welcoming Kingsley to WTF What's the Frequency?
Hi.
Hello, my darling. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's such a pleasure to see you.
I'm so excited for this chat. I can't wait.
Oh, well, thank you. So where are you calling from today? Because I also like to know where everybody is, being in the UK.
Yeah, I'm in Chicago. I'm actually at my parents' house because this week me and my mom are going to Denver together. So I got to Chicago yesterday at like midnight. I guess it was this morning. I got into my parents' house at like 1:30 a.m. So I'm a little jet lagged, but ready to rally.
You know, but because you've got youth on your side, it doesn't show. So that's just fantastic, isn't it?
Shower fixes things.
It does, doesn't it? The positive frequency of water. You know, we always forget that because we're 70 to 80% water. And, you know, bathing, showering, connecting with water is really good for our vibration.
Yeah.
So thanks for bringing that up. So I just want to talk to you about singing and the frequency of singing, because I understand that you could sing before you could talk. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think my mom was just joking about how instead of crying when I came out of the room, I was just singing coming out of her womb.
How fantastic. How fantastic. And, you know, with that, were you encouraged to sing at home? I mean, was it sort of part of growing up?
Oh yeah, like I have my grandma is she passed away, a famous gospel singer in Chicago. I mean, I grew up singing in the church. I had a band with my sisters. We were kind of like the Jackson Five, but there was only three of us, and we really didn't want to practice, so we never made it to that level. But so encouraged to sing and just be musical, like pick up any instrument and just express yourself.
God, how wonderful, how lucky. My best friend was a gospel singer. Sadly, she's not with us anymore, but I love gospel music for the fact that it just hits you in the heart. I mean, it's really funny. My children always laugh and say, you know, when we watch The Voice in the UK, and that, you know, we're all sitting around, and they'll say, their friends will say, who's going to win? And they'll say, wait till mum cries. That'll be the one that, you know, the minute she starts sobbing and going, oh my God, they're so good. They've really touched my soul. They'll be the one that wins. Because just going back to gospel music, it really is from the heart, isn't it? It's far more than, I mean, I had a very religious upbringing, but hymns in the Protestant church don't really do it, you know, in terms of that lifting and reaching.
Yeah.
What is it like to grow up with that? Must be incredible, because I found it late in life.
Yeah, I think you go and come back to it. Actually, I was having a really weird day and I started putting on a song that I would play from my childhood. It's by Kurt Franklin. It's called Brighter Day. And I just had it on repeat, and it always brings me back to a moment in time where even when I was going through turbulence as a child, there was solace in the words. And so I'm very, very lucky to have a deep connection to music. Even, I mean, gospel and Disney Channel, right? There's tons of Disney Channel songs that I could have put on that would hit me just the same. But I think I'm very lucky to just understand the vibration that music can bring you. And I feel like sometimes we get a little confused when you're sad and you put on sad music, and like maybe that will be good to get it all out, but if you don't want to feel that feeling anymore, you put on something to bring you, you know, to the next emotion when you're done with that and you want to move on. So yeah, I'm very lucky.
Really?
Love music.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. I love music. I mean, I particularly love hip hop, and people always go, "What you?" Because you look like a maths teacher. You know, what on earth do you love hip hop for? And it was like, yeah, well, you know, I was young in the '80s, and I love dance music, and I love the power of dance music because in London it just brought everyone together, and it was such a good space. You know, there wasn't any fighting, there wasn't any violence. Everyone was just dancing and sort of shouting tune, you know, and really enjoying it. So yeah. So you're singing from childhood. I always want to know, I'm so nosy, how do you actually get to be, you know, how do you get to be famous? So you're singing from childhood, you're singing at school, you're going to church, you've got all this musical influence around you. How did you actually get into it as a career? Because there's loads of people, you know, kids will be watching this going, Oscar, how did she become a pop
Yeah,
star?
I would love to be like, it's easy, just start and believe in yourself. But yeah, it's difficult and it's hard, and it's difficult because we're in capital society where, you know, you got to work to live. And so getting to be a creative being every day and make money is a privilege that I will never take for granted. And took a lot to get here. And so when I was a senior in high school, I basically told my parents, like, I'm moving to LA and I'm going to be in Hollywood. And my mom was like, no, you're going to college and you're going to get a track scholarship and you're going to study music until you figure out what you want to do. You're not going to LA. And it's hilarious because my parents went to LA when they were young. So part of it was protection. Part of it was, you know, fear because their aspirations in Hollywood didn't work out. So it's like, it was a balance between like, hey, we know what's best for you. And also it didn't work out for us. So it may not work, you know? And so I listened to them. I went to college. I ended up doubling. I got a business administration and a vocal performance with an opera focus.
Oh, sorry, you just dropped that in, just hit the double. And you passed with what? Distinctions, I'm guessing, totally nailed it.
I actually, my college was creating a major based on what I did. I did it in 5 years, which was crazy. 0 out of 10 would not recommend. I would tell people, take your time. I was just trying to rush, you know, to start what I wanted to do in life. So yeah, I did that on top of working in college and doing track and field, and it was a little insane. So I would not recommend. I was just trying to honestly just trying to figure out who I was in the world. And so I was try anything at least for 2 weeks kind of a person. I'm like, I'll start this job. If I don't like it, you know, now I know, right? I know I don't like wholesale, you know, marketing. I know that now. I've tried it. I don't like it. And so when I graduated college, I moved to Portland, Oregon. And my only rule with moving there, because I was just going to stay there for the summertime and then I was going to move to LA. I was moving there with my
But
boyfriend.
why Portland, Oregon? What's
Because my
special about
boyfriend lived there. So it was
Oh,
summer. It
okay.
was like the summer. So I, you know, spend 3 months with him there because I'm done with school and I just want to have like a summer to just not be in class every hour on the hour or in the library. And so I made 2 rules with him. The first rule was I would not pay rent because the way our college set up our apartments, you pay August or June to June, but you live August to August. So I would have had the whole summer of not paying rent because I had already paid it. And then the second rule is if I didn't find a job in the music industry within a month, I would go to LA. And so he agreed. He was like, that's fine, whole summer, no rent, and we'll help you. Well, a week later, I found a job because I am charismatic and I can't close my mouth. And I ended up working for the Old Church Concert Hall for, I interned there, but it was a paid internship. And they basically created this job for me. I was an artist liaison. They had never done Facebook ads. And I was this young, you know, young mind that was just hungry. I was hungry to learn. And so I was doing junior booking and talking to agents and meeting the artist day of and setting up hotel stuff, stuff they'd never done before. And I didn't know it. I was just winging it. I was like, we can get you hotels. And then I'm on Google, like how to secure hotel deals, for artists. Like, what am I supposed to say for them? Like, not, and which was great because when I booked my first tour, I knew it needed to be in a handicap room so we can store all of the gear. I knew it needed to be on the first floor near the lobby because we get back at 2 a.m. and you don't want to be going, and I didn't know then what I know now. I was just being like, how do you do this? And so
I love that because everyone that's been successful that I've interviewed has winged the hell out of whatever situation it is, because they've just said, I'm not being fearful, this is my chance. And what's the worst that can happen? And I know when I got a job as a secretary and I couldn't type at all. And I just particularly wanted to work for the Society of Designers. So I just learnt to type in 2 weeks. I was awful, but I was good at the other stuff. So, I managed to keep the job.
And that's, it's really that you just reminded me when you were saying that of a lot of entrepreneurs. Have you ever read The Alchemist?
Yes.
Yes, it's basically like that. Like you just kind of weevil and wabble, and sometimes luck is on your side, and sometimes a big reroute is on your side. Either way, the universe is on your side. It's one way or another. And ended up getting poached by a huge venue in Portland who like loved all the stuff, came to me and was like, we'll offer you all this. And so from that venue, I got to work with major tour labels. They were a 1,400 capacity, but he owned some of the West Coast. So I would be doing tour runs with like big name artists, huge and like these
really like who I'm almost really
for ads, right? I was going from $1,000 to $100,000, and so that was 3 years I worked for them, and then COVID happened. And then when COVID happened, I literally was like, okay, I don't want to do this for other people anymore. I've reached the point where I realize the fear in myself is setting in. I've seen major success and I've seen indie. I know what both circuits look like, and I can see myself landing in both of them. What do I need to do in this downtime? Because we don't know how long we're going to be in COVID. This was me talking to myself in like April when I was my 28th birthday. And I was like, where do you see yourself in 10 years from now? What can we do right now? And for me, it was go in first. It was go in. And so I needed to realize that my biggest fear is not success, because anything I touch turns gold. My biggest fear is my version of success. Do I have what it takes for my dream? Not for someone else's. I can go into a venue and change an entire system and make the thing run. But for myself, do I have what it's willing to take and be okay if it's a failure? Can I move forward if it's a no? Can I step? And yeah, that took a lot of inside work, And so I spent years just
Yeah, I can imagine, because a friend of mine, her daughter's Ella, and she got spotted when she was 14. But what people don't realise is how many knocks she had before she was 14. And my poor friend mortgaged her house, I think, 3 times to get her through drama school and all those sorts of things that she needed, because she didn't. Her mum's a single mum, and it was all down to her. But it was this joint effort of be fearless, go for it all the time. And I'm hearing that from you. That's an amazing vibration from somebody so young, that you just said, everything always works out for me. Everything I touch is golden. What gave you that thing inside to make you feel like that?
I guess my mom, honestly. My mom. I have 7 siblings. My mom was getting her master's while she was pregnant with my brother. So I think that was kid 6 of 8, right? And teaching and, raising us and she, my parents are still married. So my dad's not a gust in the wind, but my mom is a freaking rock star. And so I guess the beginning of it started off as pressure to I don't want to make my mom not proud of me. I really want her to make, and then also societal pressure, right? Because I'm a Black woman in America. So you have to be excellent in order to be seen, right? And so those 2 factors came in for the longest time. And I think the change over for me when I was I don't want other people's validation. I want my own validation. Was just.
And would you say that you're quite a critic of yourself? Because I really heard what you said there. I'm a Black woman, you have to be perfect. I was a woman in business in the 1980s. We had to be 120% better than all our male counterparts. If we had a hissy fit about anything, even if it was completely justified, it must be time of the month.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, that's what we're up against all the time. And it was like a constant slap down. It was a real fight to be seen and
I'm
heard.
still working on it, but I think I'm so much better. I've had some great conversations with my mom who has been like, I'm sorry if I unintentionally or intentionally put the pressure on you. I just wanted to make sure you got into this world and were solid. And I think after you have those conversations where your parents say what you need them to say, there's no more blame now to be like, no more blame. So and during COVID, me and my mom had that conversation about like where my work depression comes from, why my validation is in success so much, why my validation isn't in me. And once that kind of switched over, I was like, all right, well, if I'm having a bad day about work, it's only my fault now. I can't be like, well, when I was a kid, blah, 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 because I got to have that conversation. And if you don't get to have that conversation with your parents, I mean, I've had tons of those before I even talked to them. That was like in my meditation, doing Hapona Ono Ono, forgiving my parents for things that I thought they should have done, even though they just didn't have the ability to. And so now, if I'm really getting hard on myself, my mom will be like, hey, check in real quick.
I love that. Your mum sounds like an absolute rock star. But something you just said that somebody was talking to me about the other day, it sounded like Fena Bonamene, but it's
Hapona Ono Ono.
Yeah, isn't it a Hawaiian thing?
It's the Hawaiian forgiveness prayer. Yeah, it is life changing. I use it all the time. I mean, I just used it this weekend. I use it all the time. Sometimes on myself.
Can you just explain to the audience what it is? Because it's a new one on me, I have to say, until last week.
Oh man, forgiveness. Ooh, child. There's this when I was when I was studying Buddhism in college. There's this like the Eight Noble Truths, and one of them is about forgiveness. And I just remember skipping the whole chapter. I just went through the 30 pages and was like, not right now. This is for someone else. And I used to be a big grudge holder, like the big grudge holder. You could have taken my last Skittle in first grade, and I would remember. I would remember.
Like that.
And so I was introduced actually to this thing by one of my mentors. He's just my digital mentor, but I call him my mentor. He doesn't know I exist, but that's okay. It's Master Shirya Kashanam, but he also goes by Eric online. He is a yogi in a Lamborghini, and he teaches you like you don't have to be attached to wealth to have wealth. You just their duality can exist. You don't have to have one or the other. And one of his many YouTubes that I've gone through was this forgiveness thing. And you basically say 4 lines. You say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. You can say it to whomever you want. You can say it however you want. But the point is to keep saying those 4 phrases over and over and over. And when I tell you, you will weep by the end of it, you will weep by the end of it. Because saying thank you when you are angry at someone is a very difficult thing. Having gratitude when I've done it for essay moments in my life to the person in my mind, right? How do you say thank you? How do you say I love you? What? It's wild. And so it's really taught me that forgiveness is not about the other person, because whether you get to talk to them or not, forgiveness is about you. It's truly about you, and it's really hard to do. So it's 12 minutes if you want to try Master Shirya Kashanas. It's not a long meditation. Just type in Hapona Ono Ono Master SRI. You'll find it.
That is great. And do you know what's interesting? Because so many guests on here talk about the same things: gratitude and forgiveness being really difficult. And I'm going to say this again, because I always say it, when we talk about this, is clients of mine, I'll say, husbands run off, done terrible things, taken all the money and what have you. And I say, right, we're going to do forgiveness. And they're like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do it. Can't do it, big. Can't
Not right now.
Forgive him. We have to do a kill him ceremony. That would be great. Well, I'm like, forgiveness is all about you.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's not about him, it's all about you. Or it could be her,
Yeah.
It's really all for you, not about them. oh, well, that's okay then. I'm willing to give that a go. It's quite interesting, really. And I think
Yeah.
I really want to punch that home to people. You know, forgiveness is all about you and letting go of the power that person has over you so that you can be free and you can raise your vibration. And, listen to this lovely lady. It's hard to do, isn't it? Because you start with the gritted teeth, don't you? Because you are in the much rather be doing the kill them ceremony. And even if you start with gritted teeth, and I've done it myself, and I got divorced, peace and love, flowers and angels. Half an hour later.
Like, I love you. Please forgive me.
Because I want to normalize these things so that people don't just think that, when they do forgiveness and they're not feeling the benefits straight away, that they're doing something wrong. It's okay to be angry. We've just got to move past it.
Oh, and you can do that every day until you are actually forgiven. There's no rules, right? Do it do it every single day until it doesn't hurt, until you're at the other side, until you can not be triggered by it every moment,
Yeah, that's a beautiful place to get to, and it is possible. So in a minute, we're going to talk about how you used all of this for your fabulous first single and your album. But before we go there, we're just going to take a very short break from the lovely My Life Spring. So please stay with us, everybody, because we are having an amazing conversation about vibration this week. See you in a minute.
Ignite your vitality. Meet the LifeSpring Gold Card, a quantum leap in wellness. Revitalize your bioenergy, boost stamina, ease aches, and improve your mental focus. Shield yourself from electromagnetic frequencies emitted from cell phones, laptops, and other smart technologies. Restructure tap water, revitalize food, and harmonize everything around you. Elevate well-being with LifeSpring, made in the USA. Order today from vanessaelston.com.
And we're back. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm here with the amazing Kingsley, voice of an angel, indie goddess, and we were just talking about forgiveness and how difficult it can be when you first start, but the freedom it gives you. So, Kingsley, how did you use all of that forgiveness, coming to terms with yourself, looking at your shadow, all of that, to put it into your music and have a cathartic experience, which you've really passed on to other people through your music as well, haven't you?
Yeah, my last record was just, I'm so thankful it saved me in so many ways than I can express. It was a breakup record. I got my heart broken for the first time and stayed with my partner while I'm writing this record, right? It came out and we were still together. And one of his favorite songs is Therapy, which I think is hilarious because I'm like, did you listen? And so, yeah, getting the ability to creatively release emotions is so amazing, and then having the ability to like write it in a form, produce it in a form, and present it to the world so the world can heal the way that I healed. It's just one of the most magical things on this earth. And so, yeah, my last record was really amazing to just take everything that I knew about loving, hating, forgiving, moving, letting go into one beautiful, beautiful collection of songs, and yeah, share it with the world.
And it is, that in itself is a really brave thing to do, isn't it? Because I know when I did my first episode of this and I decided to do it, I didn't really know if anyone would watch or what have you. You put it out and you think, 0 views. Great. Next day, 3 views. Oh, well, 3 more than I had yesterday. And then all of a sudden, it takes off, doesn't it? But it's like really terrifying when you first put something out that's be creative, or it's the real you, really. It's you being vulnerable, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't realize how many other people need it, or don't have the ability to say it. So, and you do. The 2 great examples of this, I was reading, or is it, yeah, Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, and she talks about how when she was writing Eat, Pray, Love, she told her partner, like, I just want to write it. I don't think anyone's going to read it. So let me just write it, And then Julia Roberts plays her, which is hilarious. And then one of my other favorite artists, who's so magical, she basically in a Rolling Stone interview was like, I literally just pressed record and sang something, and now it's, was the project of my career. Like I was just getting it out, I didn't have hopes for anything. I just needed to get it out.
Yeah, but it's interesting, isn't it, that when you do just get it out, when you are totally vulnerable and true to yourself, it's almost like you align with the source, don't you? And it just pulls through you. I know I had to write something recently, quite difficult, quantum physics. I'm not a quantum physicist. And I had to reduce all this information onto one page. And I tried for about 2 hours. And I just said, okay, source, I could really do with a hand here. And I just said, right, I'm ready. And I typed it out within about 20 minutes. And it was, even if I say it myself, it was genius, actually. I was astounded. I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I ask for help? A bit earlier. Is that what it's like when you're composing, when you're putting words down? Do you feel very connected?
Sometimes, yeah, it just pours out of me. And sometimes it's more mechanical. So like, right, if I'm on a deadline and I have to finish a song and I don't feel very creative or connected to it, it's kind of like sitting down and trudging through it and playing it over and over again and being like, into rhyme.com or whatever it is, what rhymes with heartbreak, enter, and sometimes it's 7 minutes and a whole song is written and I have no changes to make to it. And I'm doing the demo really quickly and, it just moves and hustles. And I really think I enjoy both. I really enjoy both. I really enjoy the mechanics behind writing a song, and I really enjoy just freely being in flow. They're both amazing, and they both can make such beautiful pieces. And I think they're both very authentic to me. And I think that's why I enjoy both of them. Like, it doesn't feel sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I write this lyric line like this? What rhymes with this? Why would I write this? And then I figure it out. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm that girl. I forgot. That's why, because I can do it.
I think that's great because, we always imagine it's a torturous task. And it's wonderful to hear that there's, very much two sides to it. But I think something that you said earlier is that, words have such resonance. And thanks to you, the words that you've used to express heartbreak, for instance, which is the most terrible, of all the emotions, it's the worst, isn't it? Especially the first time. But you being able to put that into words will reach somebody that can't perhaps or hasn't got the emotional map to express themselves at that point in time. And I know when we had our sort of pre-interview, which I always do just to make sure I get the right people on the show, no lunatics, frankly. Thank God I haven't had any. Everyone's been wonderful so far. It's great. Such a joy. But we were talking about the resonance of words, weren't we? And I said, crowded house. I was really depressed. And I heard this, these couple of lines. And it was like, there's a slow boat made of China going nowhere on the mantelpiece. And I can lounge like a lounge room lizard or soar like a bird released. And it really hit me. And it made me realize that I could actually look at things completely differently and think about myself being released for greater things. And those words I will be forever grateful for. And at the same time, Eve with Who's That Girl? If ever I'm having a down day, I would put, one of the first ladies of rap on, and I am that girl. And it puts me in the right place, And I think these are the things that we don't realize the power that music has, because it reaches so far. It has no class. It has no culture. You either like it or you don't you? And as long as you're receptive to it, it lifts you up, which is amazing. Yeah, so, is that how you feel when you put your albums or your singles out? It's like, here's my explanation of life. Here's a vibrational lift for you.
Man, if you would have asked me that when I wrote my first record, I would have said no, because one of the lines in my song is like, I'm no good, no good. And now that I really know words, I would never, never cast a spell on myself saying I'm no good, even though the intention of it is saying like, I'm no good for you because I'm way out of your league. Right. But I didn't translate it that way. Right.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I'm just too out
Yeah.
of your league. That's what I always tell my girls. He's just not good enough for you, darling.
You're playing soccer and I'm playing American football, honey. It'll just never work. It'll never work.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so now that I understand words, I think I'm a little bit more intentional with what I write. It's not what I write when I'm expressing myself and I'm just writing for myself, but what I write that I know I'm going to produce and put into the world, because now I really understand the impact that my vibration has. And so if I can at least set the container, I don't really control who gets to be in the container, but if I get to set the container, then I'm going to be a little bit more intentional. Um, and yeah, so my third studio record that we're working on right now is really about like loving yourself and through and through. And if you know you're a baddie, say it out loud. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't put your shoulders back and your chest up and wear that little outfit, okay? And so my lyrics are much different. They're not like the sad breakup song that's like,
No, I like that because, I had Ebony Tutora on here, who's a manifestation goddess. And she was saying, people are so careless with their words. You trip over something, you go, oh, so stupid, I'm so clumsy. She says, I'm feeling a little bit clumsy. Or thank you for tripping me up, now I'm alert. And talking to her made me realize, I'm quite focused on this, made me really double down on it and really made me check myself all the time. And, I'm always, my friends have started laughing now. They'll say, I'll just be about to say something and they'll go, are you having an Ebony Tushora moment? So I certainly am. I'm just going to rephrase if you don't mind. It's
really
like, check it, girl, all the time.
You said something so great, like simply tripping and just or like I will accidentally send an email, like accidentally press send, and all I have to do is take a deep breath and press unsend and do it, instead of going like, oh my God, you're so dumb, and then doing the thing. Like, I'm not dumb. It's an easy thing to do. I'm not dumb. I'm actually quite smart. So why would I tell myself?
Very smart.
Why would I tell myself, And in people's mind, it's like, oh, that's nothing. It's da-da-da. But like, your brain does not know that it's nothing. Your brain doesn't quantify that this doesn't count. Everything else I say counts, but not this thing, like.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, something else you said there, this is all about feeling fabulous, about being great. That's the thing I love about Eve, she always looked fabulous and she was out there just you're like, I'm great. Have some respect for this, and I think that with social media nowadays, we've got this ridiculous comparison. And I often think, there should be more photos where they did pull back, where it's like, this guy or girl's looking amazing. They look like they're living in a great apartment. You pull back, they're living in a bedsit and they've just bought one, decent chair from the thrift shop and a decent plant, and they're looking like they're living like a rock star. Yeah. But people are buying into it and it's not genuine. And we're using this comparison all the time, and everyone's life's different. We've all got a different life contract. We've all got a different journey. We've all got different lessons to learn, but it's all really important. And I think the thing that people do is they separate themselves. Oh, I'm not good enough to be like that. Mm-hmm. But I really want people to realize that we're all connected. And every time we're evil to ourselves, oh, you're ugly, you're old, you're no good anymore, who's going to love you, you're worthless, all those things I hear people saying to themselves all the time. We're not just damaging ourselves, we're sending knives out to everyone, aren't we?
Yeah, meditation really changed my life. It was with Breath and Flow. They are an amazing couple on YouTube. And in one of their meditations that they did, she says it's a divine power to raise your vibration, because when you raise yours, you raise the entire world. And I think about that all the time. And I tell people, like, it is your divine duty to raise your own vibration. Because of that, you raise the world. And when you think of it in that perspective of like, the drop in the ocean really changes things, I think that's how you take more autonomy of yourself. Yeah, the social media comparison game. I mean, you don't need social media to do that, to compare yourself. You could be in your friend group, right? It's everywhere you go. It's easy to compare yourself. I think the most important thing, because social media is not going anywhere and jealousy is not going anywhere. I mean, it's one of the 7 deadly sins. It's been around forever. Social media did not invent it. It just amplified it. And so I think always remembering to go within is the hard part. It's hard to be silent with your own thoughts, because then you know they're real. And so whenever I get into a weird thing, so like for example, Spotify just did its Unwrapped, and I haven't released any music in 2 years. And so I literally had to get off of social media because I was thinking mean things because I haven't released music, so I can't post my Unwrapped. And why are they posting their Unwrapped, getting this many things, right? Weird things that I would never do. I'm not a very jealous person. I've never been jealous in partnership. And I'm over here on Instagram like, I'm not posting my rap. And so like reminding that a check-in with myself again, being like, okay, Kingsley, apparently you can't be on Instagram today. That's the rule. You can't do it today. Since you don't have any control of your thoughts, we are controlling the situation. So it's hard. It's hard to do. And I grew up in social media. I mean, we were the guinea pigs of it. And so a lot of the stuff that we're navigating through now, like your generation doesn't have the tools to help us because you don't have it. Like you.
No, we don't. We don't know what the hell we're doing. You know, like I had to have somebody do my social media because she, she went on holiday for a week, and I made such a mess. And I posted something about electromagnetic frequency. I got my Instagram shut down.
Oh, no, what?
She was like, I'm going to be away for 5 days today. I was like, I promise I'll never touch it again, ever.
Yeah. So just teaching yourself, like, if this triggers you, how can you respond? And it took me a long time. I mean, to get to the point where I'm like, oh wait, that. And one of my friends who does music texted me like, how the Spotify rap, and I had to text her and be like, I love you. I'm not in the greatest headspace to be a counterpart in this conversation, so I'm not going to participate. But I'm sending you love. And she was like, wow, good for you, girl. Old Mo would have been like, and another thing.
Yeah. I know. I quite often look back, or I get like a little video run of the Vanessa business bitch that I was before I became a healer. And I'm just like, never back down. Never back down. Ever. You know, I used to work in construction, and they're huge, great guys. We're like, you're not going to have one over on me. I will have the last word.
And it's great, right? It feels good. But then you just think of longevity of happiness, right? There are some times when, don't get me wrong, I go back to being on the South Side. Okay, I'll take my earrings out and I'll straighten up and we'll tussle. But for the most part, I mean, I just take a breath because I'm like, okay, a week from now, is this going to matter?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. I was in London the other day and somebody was road raging. I don't know. I mean, I don't drive. I am from London, but I'm not from there anymore. I haven't lived there for 10 years. So I don't know. Maybe I didn't indicate or I didn't move further. Anyway, crazy. I just laughed my head off. I thought, how ridiculous. You found a video camera and played it back to you in like an hour when you're in your office, because it was an executive guy in a big fancy car and a suit, what have you. I just thought, you'd be ashamed for your life. If I showed this to your work team, but this is your boss, you know, half an hour ago, shouting at a woman in traffic. Look at him, doesn't he look ridiculous? Yeah. And I just think, you know, that's what I do now. And if I ever have a moment, I just think, oh, don't go backwards, you know, because you've evolved now. Yeah, and most things, if anyone's rude to me, I just laugh. I think it's hysterical that they could be bothered, actually.
What is so funny is I always have crazy spiritual dreams, and my spirit guides are very, very talkative in my dreams. And one day I literally sat up at the middle of the night and I said out loud, it's just like it's just like Monsters, Inc. You're supposed to laugh to get more frequency than scream. And I went back to sleep. And then I woke up and I texted my best friend and I was like, whoa, profound moment. So have you seen Monsters, Inc.? It's the Disney.
Oh, I love it. One of my favorite films. Any kid that wants to watch it, I'm delighted.
Yes. Well, when the little girl screams and the whole place rumbles and it almost shuts down the power because that frequency is so, so potent. It blew my mind. And so in these moments, I'm laughing because that frequency is about to shut the power down. It's so potent. It wavers. I'm not screaming anymore. No. I got something so much stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I, if I don't have a good giggle every day, I feel like I've been robbed, frankly. And I laugh at terrible things. People tell me terrible things. I deal with people with awful backgrounds. But in order to get them past it, we quite often laugh about very, very dark things. And we'll have like quick one-liner banter between us, crack up laughing, and they'd be like, right, now let's get down to it and sort it out. At which point they'll probably cry at that point, but we've had the giggle to raise the vibration to start up with. So I think, you know, being able to laugh at the dark side of things. And somebody said something to me the other day, you know, because the news is, well, the bad news that we have on all our TVs, I very rarely engage with, but I had done, and it's made me cry quite a lot. And I said, you know what? When we engage with this type of thing, with this nastiness that's going on, it can apply to anything really, can't it? If we talk about, if we take one side of a war, or we become terribly angry about what the other side are doing, we're feeding the hatred. And if we actually stand back and just say, I don't like it, I think it's appalling, but I'm only going to send love to everyone that's hurting, then it's a very different vibration. But going back to what we were talking about before, people don't realise just by their comments about things, about politicians, about, you know, economic situations, about war, that we are feeding this low vibration, and we're keeping ourselves in fear and anger, which are all really negative vibrations. So I love the fact that you're very aware of that. And being so young, it took me blinking years to be switched on to this. So, you know, think what you can achieve now, having that knowledge. You know, wake up your friends, wake up everybody, because it makes such a difference. But something you said there, your spirit guides, you're very connected to them. I'm very connected to mine, actually. For a week, they've been telling me to get my linen trousers turned up. And I've been like, what on earth are you talking about? It's -3 degrees here. What do you mean turn your linen trousers up? And it turns out I'm probably going to have to go to Florida or Arizona next week. So it's like, you know, they've been nagging me to get organised. What do yours tell you about? Do they help you with your songs or what?
Oh man. My goodness. What can I share? A lot of it is sacred. So let me think some and it's good. It should be sacred. I think sometimes when people start spirituality, they want to talk to their friends to make sense of it, and none of it makes sense. And so it's really good. And I remember one of my spirit guides, I'm like joking with my best friend from college or from high school. She's my soulmate. So I tell there's no secrets. We're like joking about something that my spirit guide said, like making a little joke about it. And I go back into meditation the next day, and they come to me and they go, if you and Alana are going to make jokes of it, I won't be visiting you. I was like, what? And
Ooh.
they go, make sure you tell Alana when we get out of this meditation. I was like, whoop, okay. All right. Cause this is serious. You're right. You're right. And yeah, I mean,
When did you start listening to them though? Because, you know,
oh, I did not have a choice. They started throwing my phone off my couch. As soon as I said I was ready for spirits, they were already around me. They were just like, all right. I had to be like, hey, don't throw my phone off the table. That scares me. Let's do something different. And then I had to like research how to connect with your spirit guides, right? Because I didn't know I could set the parameters. I'm like getting all these crazy dreams and I'm just overwhelmed and overstimulated. And so now I have a regime of like, you know, I go to my altar and talk to my ancestors, or I'll intentionally go into this meditation to speak to this spirit guide. Or, you know, so I've gotten good at the who I want to talk to, when I want to talk to, and then good at, hey, I'm open to anybody. I just need answers. How, give it to me in a
yeah.
song, give it to me in a lyric line that I write, give it to me in a TV line. I'm about to randomly scroll on Netflix and pick something. The answer needs to be in here. I need this.
Yeah, no, I do that as well. And then all of a sudden I also get a voice, so like, stop working, go and watch TV. And it's like, really? Because I'm a bit of a workaholic, really. And, you know, especially when I'm working on projects I'm really excited about, I get really like down the rabbit hole. And someone gets supposed to go and watch TV. And I'll watch something, and it, like you said, it'll be a phrase. I think, there you go, that's the answer to that. But listen, I can't believe we're nearly at the end of our interview. It feels like I've been talking to you for 5 minutes. But a couple of things I want to talk to you about before we go is your I'm Fine video and the fact that you're the face of Events Cosmetics. How did those two things come about?
Working with Event Cosmetics has just been a dream of a lifetime. You start doing music and you really don't know where you're going to go in life. You really don't know, right? All you care about is being on the stage performing. And so when COVID happened and the stage and performing was taken away, the whole identity shifts, right? What brings you happiness if you're not on stage, getting instant gratification?
Because most people are quite glad not to be at work, sitting down watching Netflix. But your whole energy is fed by performance, isn't it? Being out there.
That is not okay. Which made me okay, right? Because then you have to figure out, well, where your validation lies, right? It can't be external anymore. And thank goodness, right? A lot of things happened in COVID, but for me, oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness I had a moment to like stop and go within and be like, hey, this is a little naughty. And so I met Kathy and before COVID through my best friend, and I was doing my like walk downtown to get exercise, and I saw the light on in her thing, and I'm like banging on the door. I'm like, a human, hello, let me in. And I basically told her like, my record was supposed to come out this year. I don't know what to do with it. Should I wait? I can't do touring. Like, I just raised all this money. It cost $10,000 to make. Like, what should I do with this? And she goes, why don't you just take one of my lipsticks with your record, put them out together, and that way you can help my business since people aren't coming downtown as much. You can put out your record. And I was like, that is an amazing idea. So from that, it became this amazing collaboration where we created 3 lipsticks based off of 3 singles. So I released each single with the lipstick, and people loved it so much. We ended up releasing 3 more products that were just like lip care products, not exactly lipsticks. And when I got to go to markets, so like I'm not even performing, like I got to just go to a market and be a vendor and talk about the product, which I never would have gotten to do, right? Never. This is out of my element. And next to Kathy, who's doing lip demos, and just getting to see people literally change in the shoulders go up when the lip is on, the like, oh my gosh. And I just remind them, oh, the beauty was in you. We just enhanced it. We just brought it right here in your face. It was already there. We didn't do anything.
I love lipstick. And when I was younger, well, when I was in sales, I could not do, I used to go and pitch for like multi-million-pound interiors jobs. I couldn't do it unless I got a Chanel lipstick in Rose Noir. And if I lost that lipstick, we wouldn't get the job. Because when I put that lipstick on, I became a new version of me. I was fearless. I was a warrior. And you 12 guys on the board better listen up, because you better buy my products. I'm only here for like, half an hour. And then I'm gone. Gone.
Yeah, I'm learning is now the term of it. It's glamour magic, but we were doing it before we even knew that it was a thing, right? Because it comes so natural and easy. So yeah, I became and it's such a different, you have like Selena Gomez owns this makeup brand, but it's not really tied to the music. So like these lipsticks embody the song. So when you put on I'm Fine, you're putting on the lyrics to my song. You're putting on, just another element of who I am as an artist and the journey and the story that made the song.
But that's vibrational resonance, isn't it? So you're putting it into the lipstick, mashing it up with the song.
Right. It's like the crystal. You already have the intention, but now you have the crystal that's bringing it all together. And so my lipstick acts as the crystal.
That is amazing. I think it's fantastic. And have you made loads of money doing it?
It's been great. It's been great. I mean, beauty will always be there, which is amazing. I don't think that field is ever going out. And so, and thank goodness for it. Because if we didn't have
I think it's a total celebration of sort of feminine energy, and it's one of the things, well, some boys can have it, but on the whole, it's holy for us, isn't it? And I think that's great. And I love this as well, because, the great thing about makeup is you can have, I don't know, scarring on your face or something like that, and it can cover it all up and give yourself a new you, or reshape your face and bring out the really good points and just make you feel great. Makeup to me really is, and skincare really lifts your vibration and makes you feel really sexy and female. And I think that's something that the whole 1980s, we're always trying to be men to compete with them. I think what's great about this age is we're not interested in that anymore. We're going to be totally female, and we're coming for you in a totally different way. We don't want to be like you. We want to do business differently.
We want to do everything as our authentic self, and I think that's such a great thing. Like makeup, every person's makeup take is so uniquely different, and that is so beautiful. So beautiful. So beautiful.
It's a unique, we've all got a unique vibration, and makeup just emphasizes that. Now, my darling, quickly, the I'm Fine video, talk to me about that, because it's so powerful.
Yeah, so it's a all black and brown cast. We shot it during the November of COVID, so it was a little crazy with doing testing every day, and yeah, it was crazy and how it worked. No one got it was just amazing. It was beautiful. It was we had to go through the 9 yards with the film team that I went through, and so I specifically chose the people that I chose to show the variations of how black and brown bodies present and look. And so, like, if you watch the video, like Ash has an amputee arm. Charles identifies as queer. My best friend is in the video. She actually choreographed it, but she is a ballet dancer that has a bigger body, right? So she's not your stereotypical ballet dancer. She's actually getting her master's in ballet out in Roehampton, in England.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah. And then myself, like I identify as queer, and it basically was just like to celebrate like what breakup looks like when you go with your girlfriends and you're just goofing and you're having a good time. That was the premise of that was like the main premise, but the reason why I picked it entirely black and brown cast is because I'd never had the opportunity to do so. And so, like, the director was a queer woman, the camera woman was a black woman. The only man that we had was Andre, and he was dope. And we even forgot that Andre was there. We're like all chit chatting. We're like, "Oh yeah, Andre, how are you over there?" And he's like, "Oh that." And it was just really beautiful, and just reminded me from my childhood what I wish I would have gotten to see on TV. Was just like every version that you can possibly be. And I think we so often get in duality, and this isn't just in what Hollywood does for Black people. It's pretty much for any marginalized group. You can either be one or the other, and that's just not true. You could be so many things. And so when I created I'm Fine, it was to show you could be so many things, and each one of those add just that extra piece, extra piece that makes it so beautiful.
Oh, that is a really beautiful thing, a wonderful vibration. But sad, I mean, it's so lovely to finish on that, because it is about, complete inclusion, and we are all connected. So it's beautiful that you were able to do that. So we've got a few minutes left. Where can we find you? Where can we get more Kingsley?
Yeah.
What have you got going on that we can buy, darling?
I finally have music coming out next year. In January, I have the first single of my record coming out, and it's so fun. It's called My Love, and it's basically just it was based off of My Love Is Like Whoa by Maya. I remember watching that on MTV as a kid and just being so mesmerized with her. And so her song is like, my love is like whoa, my touch is like whoa, my kiss is like whoa, all of these things will blow your mind. And so that's what my song is based off of. Like, I will blow your mind. Hey, Eve, let me blow your mind. Like, I will do it. Look at the connect, brought it right back to the beginning. And so, yeah, you can follow me on Spotify to listen to my new record or my old records if you're going through it. I host meditations and breath work because I'm certified. So on my Patreon, if you want to do a one-on-one with me and just breathe through some stuff. And of course, TikTok, Instagram, I legally have to be on those. So
I love that. I legally have to be on them. Well, Kingsley, I can't thank you enough. This has been a wonderful conversation. You've really lifted my vibration. You're a bundle of vibrational positivity. You really are. And it's been a real pleasure to have you on today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the great questions. You never know what you're going to get. And this was such a great curated conversation. I really appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you too. And I particularly appreciate all you wonderful viewers. And thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for your lovely comments. Thank you for your DMs. And make sure you tune in next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, on the Limelight Network on E360 TV. Love and light, everyone. Take care.